Hello and welcome to Kelly Legends Media. Okay, so you can see by the thumbnail, this video is going to be about Lefty Gunplay and the performance that he did at the Nickerson Gardens projects. Okay, now I believe this event was a TDE Christmas like toy drive. So, people showed up. They showed up with their families. They showed up with their kids. And this is going to prove to be a very important issue later on in the video. I heard a couple of content creators trying to talk bad on Lefty specifically, and blaming Lefty as to why he got the kind of response that he got. And Lefty is partially responsible for that negative response. So for those of you who don't know who Lefty Gunplay is, he's an up-and-coming rapper. He's the young man in the corner of the thumbnail. And he's a very hot commodity right now, People are using him. Kendrick Lamar used them on an album that Dr. Dre was involved in producing. He's on several of the popular radio stations. Power 106, I believe 92.3. He's also done an interview on the radio, which he's getting much better at than when he first came out. He's getting more professional. He's learning and he's improving as he's going along, and that's what needs to be done. Okay, he hasn't been doing this long, man, and he's blowing up. You can't take that away from him. He's getting paid. He's got a record deal. He came out on one of the hottest rappers right now, Kendrick Lamar, on his album. Yeah, it was just real short piece, but he was called up to do that. Not anybody else that's flapping their gums right now, So, anyways, that being said, let's move on. We'll get back to that. So there he is, comes out on stage. You could tell by the thumbnail, there's like thousands of people. This is not a small venue. There's a lot of people there. Thousands. Different ages, all the way down to very young children. Okay. When he first came out, probably a little around less than half the crowd was really feeling him. Some of them weren't dancing or moving because they were filming. They were recording. And a lot of people were recording on their phones, and there was people dancing and were into it, but there was a huge number that just weren't feeling it. Early on, when he hit the stage, he felt the energy was low, and he tried to call out to the crowd to come on, let's get up, let's move, and a few hands went up. But mostly it was, mostly it looked dead in the crowd, But he kept on doing his thing. He kept on pushing. If you watch the crowd, you could see some people got a little bit more into it. But for all the people that were there, and the energies just wasn't there. They weren't really feeling it. And I believe it has to do a lot with who he's associated with, for one thing. A lot of the black gang members feel some sort of way towards Sureños from being in prison with them and decades of war, And it's just that way. The hate is real, especially among gang members or people that come from that, A lot of animosities deeply embedded in them, you know, and they're not shy about it, you know, and they spread it. You know, that this shit spreads like a virus, like a disease, you know, all that negative energy, all that negative talk. Anyways, I believe that had a lot to do with it. Probably when they found out he was going to be there, hey, well, who's Lefty Gunplay? He's that guy that this and that. He's that guy that said he didn't want his daughter to hook up with a black dude. That alone, uh, probably made him feel some sort of way. I would not doubt it at all. And even if you apologize and you try to clean it up and you try to bring it back and get politically correct, it's out there and it hit, you know, and they feel some sort of way. You have Whack also running his mouth, you know, talking about he'd never sign a sureño and you know, and he's a blood. And Nickerson Garden is highly populated with blood gangs, you know, and bloods, you know. And you know, you're gonna go with your homeboy, you know, right, wrong, or otherwise. You ride with your homie. Your homie says somebody's, you know, a piece of work. That person's a piece of work, you know. Regardless, you might feel a little different, but you're gonna ride with your homies, you know. You know, there's tension down in the Compton area with the Bloods, more specifically against essays, against sureños, against homies, you know. So people take all these things and walk around with them no matter where they go. So here they are, Nickerson Gardens. They're watching the stage, you know. There's people that they want to see, but I just don't think they were there to see Lefty, and that's okay. You know, you could chalk it up as a fill. You know, it doesn't matter. You know, he needs to keep his eye on the real prize, and it's a much bigger stage, and it involves a lot more people than just the ones that were there at Nickerson Garden. Facts. I wouldn't take nothing away from Lefty. He's doing his thing. He's making his money. He's getting paid. You know, you can't take that from him. You know, he's the one that was invited to go on stage. You know, there's this dude from up north. I don't know who he is, what his name is, what his podcast. I wouldn't even say it if I did. I'm not going to give him that shine because I think most of what he was saying on his podcast about the situation was inaccurate, you know. And he feels some sort of way personally. Apparently, he was rapping at one time. He mentioned a venue that he was at, you know, a very popular venue, and how 20 years ago he was doing his thing, but you know, it's been 20 years. You know, this is a whole other generation, a whole other get down. And it's Lefty, the one that's up there doing this. He wasn't called to the stage, so you know. And anyways, it is what it is. You know, people are like that. People, you know. And then he's from up north, and you know, this dude Lefty has been very vocal with the guys from up north. So you know, it'd be expected that he'd sling some mud at Lefty, you know. And try to, you know, flip it in the best way that would benefit the way he feels about Lefty. Nevertheless, let's move on. I think Lefty's doing his thing right now. My advice would be to keep his eye on the prize, man, and keep pushing, man, because he's doing the damn thing. You know, he might not have everything, all of the skill sets that he needs, but with experience, he's learning. He's getting better at interviews. He doesn't look twacked out like he did when he first came on the scene. I'm sure that's intentional, and it's a good move. Yeah, I'm not going to give Lefty no advice, you know, because he's got people to do that. That being said, his management team, His management team should have got with Lefty and asked Lefty to get a song or songs or raps to perform that would be appropriate for a Christmas toy drive with children. That's going to take us to the middle finger and the booing, okay? At some point during his performance, he went out, leaned out into the crowd, started doing his thing, banging, cussing, F, B, this, that, whoop, whoop. And there's nothing but little kids all down on the stage, It was inappropriate. Especially right there with all them little kids, The management team should have told him, hey, let's do this. Let's do these songs. They're less, doesn't have so much cuss words and stuff. And when this word comes up, let's use this in its place, Oh, that going out there with all the B's and F's, and should have been some kind of something to do with that. It did nothing to soften it for these kids, And as soon as he started all the cussing and talking crazy, you could hear the booing, like, no, woo, woo. And that's when the little girl was like, what? F you, you know what I mean? Like, there should have been some instruction by the management team, because Lefty don't have that much experience. He's very young still. I'm not taking nothing away from him. I'm just saying he's young, and he's thinking about performing. What are these other guys thinking about? And that should have been addressed before he went on. I think that was a huge mistake, And I think that's what caused a lot of the booing, Once he got into that, it might have been the moms and dads at first, like, oh, hell no. No. Boo, boo. And then the next thing you know, it's spreading. Next thing you know, it's like, what? The little girl's like listening to all these F's and B's and stuck the finger, Anyways, you learn, And I'm sure that the next situation where Lefty Gunplay is involved, he's going to be wiser and not do things like that, There might even be an apology that might help, like, hey, I wasn't thinking about that. I apologize to the kids and to the parents, I should have toned down my get down and blah, blah, blah. There's a way to do it, man, but that was disrespectful, and I'm sure they felt that too, on top of the other little things that were already in the back of their minds. You know what I mean? So, yeah, sometimes it's just not fitting. Things that just don't go. It depends who your audience is, and then you gotta adjust. Anyways, that's a fail on his management team's Gunplay's behalf also. Anyways, this is my video. There was other content creators that gave Lefty Gunplay props. I want to do that. I'm not trying to talk Lefty down. I see what he's doing. I've been keeping an eye, and he's doing big things, and he's got bigger things in the future, and that's what he's got to think about and go after. And I hope that he kind of like pumps the brakes on all of the other stuff that could end up getting him to catch a case and end up in prison and losing everything. You know what I mean? Because so many rappers have done it. That have come from the streets, that have had done time in prison and come back out and do their gangster stuff in the rap scene. They end up losing everything. Good futures just thrown out the window for nothing. So everybody out there, man, including Lefty, man, keep your head up, and we just keep overcoming these obstacles that are thrown in front of us. Learn by our mistakes, And whatever it takes, stay out of prison, man. Stay free. Thank you for watching. God bless you. God bless your family. And I hope to see you on the next video. Thank you very much.